Glad to start a new topic, winds. The horizontal movement of air along the surface of the earth is called wind, whereas the vertical movement is known as air current. Wind always flows from an area of high pressure to low pressure. It is the difference in air pressure which causes the wind to blow. And we know that difference of pressure on the Earth's surface is due to unequal heating by insolation, that is, incoming solar radiation. The speed and direction of the wind is determined by three factors. Number one, it is the pressure gradient force. Number two, Coriolis force. And number three, frictional force. Pressure gradient force, we have studied about this in the previous video of pressure belts. It is the difference of pressure between any two places, which can be identified by isobars. Coriolis force. Coriolis force is the force caused by Earth's rotation. It is the wind gets deflected to their right in the northern hemisphere and towards their left in the southern hemisphere. It is an effect of Coriolis force. So the winds blowing in the northern hemisphere, they blow anti-clockwise, and in the southern hemisphere, they blow in a clockwise direction. So a wind blowing from south to north in the northern hemisphere will get deflected towards its right and will be called as southeast wind, whereas a wind blowing from south to north in the southern hemisphere will get deflected towards its left. Another force is the frictional force, which is near the surface. Roughness of the earth causes friction. This retards the speed of the wind. This force has impact up to a few meters only. Now, the types of winds. There are different types of winds, among them planetary winds. Planetary winds, they blow constantly in the same direction, and planetary winds, they blow within the pressure belt. There are three types of planetary winds. It is the trade winds, westerlies, and the polar winds. First, we'll study about the trade winds. Trade winds, they blow between 30° north to 30° south. Trade winds, they blow in the northern hemisphere from subtropical high pressure belt to equatorial low pressure belt, because the wind always blows from an area of high pressure to lower pressure. So here they are called as northeast trade winds, and in the southern hemisphere they blow from south to north. So they are known as southeast trade winds. Trade winds, they blow in their direction steadily throughout the year. These are known as trade winds because they help the traders in their trade in the early times. Westerly winds. Westerly winds, they blow between 35 degrees to 65 degrees latitude in the northern hemisphere and 35 degrees to 65 degrees latitudes in the southern hemisphere. Trade winds in the northern hemisphere, they blow from subtropical high pressure belt towards the subpolar low pressure belt. So the trade wind, it blows from south to north and gets deflected towards its right. So in the northern hemisphere, they are known as southwesterlies, whereas in the southern hemisphere, they blow towards the north. So here they are known as northwesterlies. Westerly winds, they are also called as trade winds, anti-trade winds, because they flow in the opposite direction of the trade winds. Westerlies, they are more constant in their direction in the southern hemisphere. The reason being due to the absence of land masses. So here they are called by various names such as roaring 40s, furious 50s, and screaming 60s. Polar winds. Polar winds, they blow in the northern hemisphere beyond 65 degrees to the North Pole, and in the southern hemisphere beyond 65 degrees south to the South Pole. In the north, the polar winds, they blow from polar high pressure to subpolar low pressure belt. Here they are called as northeast polar winds, and in the southern hemisphere, they are called as southeast polar winds. Polar winds, they blow steadily in their direction. So, the three types of planetary winds are the trade winds, westerlies, and the polar winds, blowing steadily in their direction throughout the year. Second type of winds are the periodic winds. Periodic winds, they change their direction periodically, with change in season. They are also referred as seasonal winds, which are caused due to unequal heating of land and sea. Their main characteristic is seasonal reversal in the direction of winds. Example of periodic winds are monsoon winds and land breeze and sea breeze. Monsoon wind is, we can say, they are land breeze and sea breeze only, which blows on a very large scale, and they affect the climate of those areas. Whereas land breeze and sea breeze is confined to the coastal areas and helps in moderating the temperature. During the daytime, land gets heated. Air touching the hot land surface becomes warm, expands, and rises up. So a low pressure area is formed over the land, whereas the temperature of the seawater is cool. So it's a high pressure area. Now the wind starts rushing from the high pressure to the low pressure area, thus helping in bringing down the temperature of the land. Opposite happens during the night time. Nighttime, the land gets cool by evening, and all through the day, the temperature of the seawater has heated. So, a low pressure is formed over the sea, whereas a high pressure on the land. So, the wind starts moving from land towards the sea, thus bringing down the temperature of the seawater. So, these land breeze and sea breeze blowing in a fixed period of time help in keeping the temperature moderate in along the coastal areas. Another type of wind is the local winds. Local winds are the winds which develop due to local variation in temperature, pressure, and due to humidity. Local winds affect small areas There are numerous local winds blowing in different parts of the world. For example, Lu, it blows in the plains of North India and Pakistan. These are the hot and dry winds. Chinook is a warm, dry wind blowing along Rockies in North America, which helps in melting the ice. Fohn, it is also a strong, hot, dry wind which develops along the leeward side of the Alps. Mistral is a cold wind experienced on the northwest coast of Mediterranean Sea. That's all for the day. I hope you have liked the video. Do hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you.